making these demons cross. How can you hurt me? The amount that I've damaged myself. I'm just immune to it, G. You need to better your health.
So finally it's time to sort out my own hedge trimmer a little bit. This is the personal one I use for work. It doesn't actually need anything fixing. It just needs a basic service, meaning air filter, spark plug, general stuff. So for a start, that just unscrews. The air filter is rotten. It's not that, I mean, it looks worse than it is. It's done its job. It's caught stuff, stopped stuff from going into it. The cover's full of a few bits and odds and sods. Nothing that can't be tapped out. You know, that's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's not great. You can tell because it feels really stiff. It's also lost colour. I mean, you look at that, doesn't look that bad, really. You can hold it up against the light. It doesn't look that bad. But when you hold it up against a new one, it looks completely terrible. So, you know, that's where it is worth replacing things like this now and then. Everyone should be able to replace the odd things like this on their equipment themselves. You know, it only takes 10 seconds to take that out and put a new one in. So pop that back in there. Please tell me that's meant to fit. Yep, lovely. So that one just slots in. Has a little edge on it, and that slots into that gap. And then the cover just goes back on this way. Just screws in like that. Easy as pie. It's even easier to change certain air filters because they don't even have a screw, they just pop off. They have a little bit you squeeze in. Now I'm just going to take out my spark plug. Oh, that was in there tight. Probably hasn't been changed in a while. I didn't buy this brand new. This is bought second hand off someone. See, that isn't great. When you look at that, I probably should have changed that a while ago. It's not too bad, but it's not great. It is an NGK as well, and it was running fine, but it was just a little bit boggy with the startup and things like that. So we got a brand new one. Do not use rubbish spark plugs. Air filters I don't think matter too much. Spark plugs, NGK, I don't use anything else. I only use NGK. So that just screws in down there. Screw it in as much as you can by hand, and just give it one last little turn. Don't over tighten it, just nip it up. Put the boot back on. Make sure you feel it click when you push it on. There we go. And the final thing I want to check is the fuel filter. So just got the cap off. Normally you can sort of stick your finger in and pull the fuel line out like this. It can sometimes be a little bit tricky. Other times I use like a long Allen, try and hook it, or some long needle nose pliers. So the fuel line, so you might as well inspect that while you're here as well. The fuel line's actually mint. It looks near enough brand new, and to be honest, even though it looks a bit discoloured, that's pretty much brand new as well. And just for reference, that is a new one, so apart from the colour, it actually feels fine. So I'm not going to bother changing that yet. I'll just leave this filter I have got to one side and change it when it needs it. So that is literally all I would do on a running, you know, a machine that's running okay but just hasn't had anything changed in a while. The only other thing I normally do to these is I sharpen the blades. You can do it while they're on the machine with certain tools. I find it easier to take them off. Apart from that, I would grease the gearbox. You do have a little port in there. There's a little port down there for a grease gun. If you can do it, if you ain't got a grease gun and you want to do it by hand, all you have to do is take this cover off and just pack it out with new grease. I like to take them apart and clean them out properly. That is the sort of things you need to be doing on your equipment. So I would advise for things like this or a mower, you can buy service kits for them. I bought a service kit for this. It come with a fuel filter, an air filter and a spark plug, and it was only about a tenner. So, you know, obviously other things might have had to have been changed, fuel lines and things like that, but I use this every day, so I know what's good and what's bad on it. So, but just for a general service, you should always be changing your air filters and your spark plugs at the least, sorry.
My life is not an easy dust. I'm smacking bats on your knee when you feed my pops. I'm making these demons cross. How can you hurt me? The amount that I damage myself. I'm just immune to it, G. You need to better your health.